Hi, today we're making ground chuck casserole. Hi, we're gonna make ground chuck casserole today. It comes to you from Louisiana Backroad Recipes. It's a recipe served up in Lucille's Red Kettle Grill from Alexandria, Louisiana. It's supposedly a local favorite. Um, our daughter, she got me this book a couple years back ago when she was on a trip to Louisiana, and I just recently tried this recipe over the winter, and it's made for a casserole dish and baked in the oven. But after we tried it, I thought, man, this would be a really good Dutch oven recipe. It'd be a really good camping recipe. Just a few ingredients: some ground chuck, bag of tater tots, 2 cans of cream soup, and an onion. So there's not a whole lot to it. We were going to make it, and I was going to film it last weekend. We were supposed to go on a camping trip out at Land Between the Lakes, but we had a dead standing sassafras come down in a storm, took out our power lines, and then so last weekend we wound up calling a tree service out to take down the rest of some trees along the driveway, just to eliminate any other threat. And the deal was he'll take them down, knock them over into the woods, and then I'll, in my own time, cut them up, salvage what I can for firewood, and then anyhow, take care of the mess. And so I started working on that a little bit last weekend, and been finishing up on that today. I had a good pile of treetops and stuff burning this morning, and I was going to try to keep that fire going. And my original thought was to use the wood coals to cook this meal on and film it, but I overtaxed my back. So I think I'm just going to spend the afternoon out here on the deck. I've got my tens unit and cold beer. I'm in the shade, and it's probably mid-80s and lower humidity than it has been. So I think I'm just going to take it easy here. I don't feel like being hunched over, taxing my back anymore. So we're just going to cook everything right here. Give me a couple more minutes and get everything set up and assemble this. It's supposed to cook for an hour and 15 minutes in a preheated oven, so I'm going to let it go under briquette coals for about an hour and a half. That should make up the difference. And so give me a quick minute to resituate the camera, and we'll put this together and get it cooking. Okay, so I've got a pound of ground chuck. Just crumble it up, lay it in the bottom. A little small. The smaller the crumbles, probably the better. But the recipe originally calls for 1.5 pounds, but it makes quite a bit, and we've got a couple of other things we're going to make this weekend, so we don't want a lot of leftovers, and it's going to make too much for us to eat just for tonight, so I'm trying to reduce it a little bit. all that. Not really patting it down a lot, just trying to make a little crust layer there. And got about a medium-sized onion. The recipe does not call for it, but I had a little red pepper that I still needed to use up, and then I put a rib of celery in there just because. And it also called for just a sliced onion, but I went ahead and diced everything fairly fine and layer that in here. Okay. Can of undiluted cream of celery soup, which I did not have, so I've got a cream of chicken soup. I don't think it's gonna make that big of a difference, all in all. And I'm just I think that's pretty much all that I'm going to get out of there. I'm just going to go try to move it around as best I can. A little salt, sea salt. And some ground pepper. I like to use the little peppercorn medleys. And tater tots. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I got the Kroger brand tater bites. The recipe calls for a full pound, and this is a 2-pound bag. And I'm just gonna try to lay these over. The idea is just to fill up the whole space of the, make a whole layer of it. Guess it was easier in a rectangular pan, but they're working around ones too, just a little differently. Get back over there. And these are still frozen, which would probably be the one hard thing to do as a camping trip. Maybe if you made it as a first meal, or if you kept it on dry ice in your cooler, or lived in a place where it doesn't get hot. But last week when we were going to make this, it was mid-90s the whole week. And it probably would not have held up long as a frozen hash brown or frozen tater tot, but think that is pretty much the best that's going to do. Man, it's maybe a little over half the bag. That's probably right at the pound that they were asking for. So be right back. I'm going to stick this in the freezer for a second. Finish it off. Okay, and the last one here is a can of cream of mushroom soup. Hopefully the pull tab doesn't come off like the other can did. Nope, it did not. And supposed to dilute that with a half a can of water. So half a can of water. Get all the rest of that out. Okay. Alright, just this simple. It just gets poured over top of the tater tots. And that is really it. I'll let that cook for 1.5 hours. Alright, so I'm going to let that cook about, I'll probably get about 45 minutes out of those coals. And I'm going to alternate the, swing the pot around and the lid around every 15 minutes or so. And then after probably about 40 minutes in, I'll start another batch of coals for it. Let it cook out the rest of the way on the new batch. That's pretty much it. And I'll get back with you when it's ready to eat. Okay, it's been an hour and a half, and resting for about 5 minutes without any coals on it. I'm trying to get it to set up a little bit, but let's take a peek and see what we got here. It's probably not going to be the prettiest of dishes, but nonetheless, it's tasty. And, well, a nice looking gravy anyhow. I'm going to let that set up another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll plate it, and I'll show you how it looks all the way through. Oh, you got to see this. Okay, so there it is. The tater tots kind of broke down, so they're not as firm as they would have been if they had baked them in the oven, but the meat crusted up really good on the bottom, cooked all the way through. Nice gravy to go with it. Said it's not the prettiest of meals, but I guarantee it's going to be a tasty one. And it's hot. Yeah. So that is I really think a great meal for a camping trip. Base camp, car camping type of trip anyhow. But definitely some good victuals. And I apologize that it wasn't done in a camp setting, but because I just been working too hard today and my back's a little sore, and I just want to chill on the deck for a little bit. So I thank you for spending the evening with me, and until next time, we'll see you.